Hey guys, Will here. Today we're going to look on how to set this remote on fire remote boost step-by-step tutorial coming up.
Incredible!
Alright, straight into the numbers. Here we are looking at my chart. The color represents that those were flown in a specific day, and every color is a different day. That I just want to have as much transparency as possible. Put all the numbers in the same chart because I'm flying off of the same point, which it's an elevated point which has no physical barriers or any kind of obstacles, and I'm flying the same exact route, using the same exact landmark for aiming. It's in the same angle of the antennas. You can look back at some of my old videos. You can see how I aim my antennas, and they can teach you as well how to aim your antennas. My variables are all locked in. Of course, I cannot control, for example, the interference. If it happens to change for whatever reason on the same exact route, it's kind of not very possible. Another thing I cannot control is the weather, and Wi-Fi is somewhat affected by moisture. Obviously, we know that Wi-Fi does not penetrate water. That's why we don't see it used inside underwater vehicles. And if there is rain or maybe high humidity, it can possibly affect the signal quality. I know that in the purple that it was a higher humidity day. I live in a tropical area, so anyway, no matter what, it's high humidity. So I just want to be as transparent as possible. Here are the numbers. As you can see, these are stocks. What we have here is a CE in the 5.8 frequency. That's a C model Mavic Mini, and this is a C model Mavic Mini in 2.4 frequency. This is my own FCC model in 5.8 frequency. Obviously, we're all in CE territory. If we were in FCC, we wouldn't even be having a discussion about anything because you would be having full power anyway. But of course, you can use antenna boosters if you're in FCC territory. But I don't want to digress. Here are the numbers normally. So let's start with the CE. Normally at 5.8 frequency, we get around 720, and the remote boost is almost doubling it. So we're looking at about a double. And then if we look at in the 2.4 frequency, 6.28, and we're looking at a reduced amount. And I don't know why it's a reduced amount. We did 4 flights out. This was the longest one. For whatever reason, I don't know if the interference is higher, or it was a higher humidity day, so maybe that was the effect. So it's possible these numbers could be slightly lower than they should be compared to my own in orange, but it could be just whatever fluke. I hope it's not a fluke. Maybe you can comment below what you think why this would lower, but maybe it's around the same. You can say it's around 500 if you want, but yeah, a slight reduction for whatever reason. So yeah, remote boost, it definitely does not help the 2.4. And I'll say it again, I will say it always. If you are in any kind of suburban or urban environment, you want to manually go into 5.8. 2.4 is really for rural environment, not even suburban, rural empty fields and or water areas that don't have commercial ships either, just abandoned water. That can be also good for 2.4, but otherwise you should lock it in. This just reinforces that belief that I have, and other people I talk to have 5.8 is much better. So pretty good results. 5.8, it's not what I expected. I had my own speculation on what the results will be, and what I thought the 5.8 will be a slight increase, with the 2.4 having a double increase, but actually it was kind of the opposite, where the 5.8 had the double increase relatively. When you pay attention to the numbers, your mileage may vary. This is my specific area. Your area could be different, so it's better to concentrate more on how much it's doubling by the ratio rather than to just think about whatever specific number. So yep, looking about double. So you can decide whether it's worth it for you or not, based on how I explain the tutorial. If you think it's worth going through, maybe you might think it's too little results to even bother. But anyway, just giving you all the data as much as possible. How about remote boost with a parabolic antenna booster, the one over here? We're looking at 1756, slight increase, not bad, definitely helps to have it. That's pretty good. Definitely more than just here's a Yagi by itself, so definitely more. So I would say you can combine that together if you want. Of course, you can do that very easy. and have the best you possibly can have out of your drone. Here's my FCC model, and I get really, very consistent. Here's another consistent number that I would say, I used to say it's a fluke. It's like this weird number. This 486, it's consistent. I'm getting consistent around this 500. It's less than the CE model for whatever reason. I don't know. So if you have a CE model, don't feel so bad, right? Because this FCC performs worse for some reason. I see territory. Both 5.8. Okay, and then here's the numbers that I got from previously. This is my FakeGPS, aka FCC mode. It's more than 3,000. I hit the limiter on that. I don't care to go much farther because normally I hit the low battery around 3 kilometer range anyway, and I'm over water and it's windy. So, and plus it's understood that the flight time is, when you calculate it, it's roughly you have a flight distance of roughly 6.7 kilometers. So at 3,000 round trip, you're already at 6 kilometers anyway. So you're not going to get much more flight time if you're trying to do a round trip, right? Unless you're trying to do a one-way trip to Poseidon. Anyway, so pretty good results. Again, we're getting like double the boost, 46 to 1211. That's pretty good. Definitely a lot better than the stock. The stock is garbage, and much better. And this is like a permanent, right now we can say it's a permanent exploit, permanent hack. You just do it once. You don't have to worry about doing any special tricks. It will keep your remote boosted, and that's my understanding. And this is the same as drone hacks exploit that they do. But with this technique, obviously you don't have the license locked in to one drone. You can do an unlimited amount of drone once you know how to do this tutorial. Okay, now here's what's interesting. Remote boost parabolics. I got 2888.
Ooh.
Wow, crazy. And basically approaching the FCC power, 2888, and that's combining the parabolic and the remote boost. And I would say at that, you're really like, that's all you need, really. And so it's quite good. I would say, at least for my result, it was quite good, that the result that you get. Let's zoom this out and look at the chart just so you have a visual of what you're seeing. It's the same thing you're looking at this chart. It's just a more visualized CE in this color. So the CE model is in the 2 blue shades, CE 5.8, 2.4. There's a FCC model in orange, 5.8, and these are the stock numbers. There's a Yagis, different Yagis, as you can see. They pretty much double and approaching tripling your distance, whatever your stock is. Your stock distance is of course different in everybody's location. FCC, it should be more than 3,000, at least 3,000. There's a remote boost, not good for 2.4. 2.4 is just not good. As you can see, it looks about double. You can visually see double. Remote boost for myself. No, this is the remote boost for the CE with the parabolics. And then here's my remote boost. For some reason, it's much more. I don't know why. And I was thinking after this chart, in the future, actually, I'm gonna change my location to yet another one. And what I want to do is maybe fly, maybe do all these results again. I don't know if you guys want that. If you guys want that kind of me to make another chart try to get all this data redone at a different location, and maybe another location would be just strictly over water and just like not over any type of land that may have interference, and that should stretch out all these numbers a little bit more. But I would say the results are probably something similar in relation to each other, in relation between the stock and this stuff. You're probably looking at like double this and then triple that. Okay, so those are the numbers, and then we go straight into the tutorial. And then the tutorial is for education purposes. You do it at your own risk. Okay, so this is a step-by-step tutorial on how to activate this. Let me say it again. Follow your local laws. You do this at your own risk. Okay, not responsible for whatever. This is the remote boost, aka remote hack, aka drone hacks. Drone hacks, I believe, uses the same exploit to boost the remotes. And first, let me just say, thanks to Jimbo in Thailand, one of my subscribers who actually commented about this whole technique and gave a couple of links so that I can research it and then test it out on my own and streamline it, cut out all the fat. And it's quite difficult because one guy is a German guy, one guy's an Italian guy, so it's definitely not English. So I don't know if this is the only English tutorial, but I hope it helps people. If you refer to this tutorial while making your own tutorial, don't forget to refer me as well. You know, I don't mind sharing this information as long as you refer whatever I helped for your own video. Okay, so what you need to do, FCC hack, aka the fake GPS. You can't get around this. I've tested, you have to do this. Go back into my other video. I have a tutorial about the FCC, and it just goes step by step. It's very thorough. It gives you everything on how you can activate this by yourself. I'm not going to just reiterate it because it's just gonna make this video too long. So you basically need an Android phone. You need to download old DJI Fly. I tell you where you can get that. Fake GPS, activate it, put the drone and the remote into a FCC states, the USA territory, and then come back to here after you do that. So starting with this, the material is going to need a PC with a LAN port. LAN is Ethernet, same thing, right? Next, USB male to LAN converter with this specific AX88772 chipset. Okay, yeah, you're just gonna have to look for that. The seller doesn't know, it's probably not true. It's a USB 2.0 version. And if you have trouble, you can comment below. I can help you just to confirm if you have the right one. Find it on Amazon, eBay, AliExpress. Seen as cheap as $5. I paid $14 for my Ugreen one. USB female to micro, USB male, OTG converter. You might already have this. A lot of tablet people already have this. It just makes your micro USB that goes into your remote make you have a female USB ports, just so you can connect your stock lightning cable, for example. Just have a longer cable, right? $5. OTG, make sure that data is transferring. LAN cable, make sure you just have this Ethernet cable. Type 5 or newer. I've tested a Type 5 and a 5E, both works. I had an older cable that does not work, so make sure you have a newer cable. You probably do. You don't have this, pull it off your Wi-Fi router and put it back when you're done. Okay, the process. So the PC, start off with the PC. You might actually have Telnet already active. So if you could probably run or search for a Telnet. If it doesn't pop up, you don't have it active, this is the process. So you might be able to skip this part. PC, in the control panel, look for program and features. In that list, you're gonna look for Telnet client and just check that box. Click OK, get that Telnet active. Okay, now let's connect all the cables. Connect the remote to the micro USB, USB female to the USB male to LAN, and connect the LAN cable to your PC. Then you can turn on your remote, right? And then next, now your remote is physically connected to your PC. Now you have to change the Ethernet properties to make sure you can access this remote. Okay, these two instructions, one is Windows Vista, one is WinXP. They're basically the same things, just the names are different. If you have Windows 10, refer back to the German YouTuber that I was referred to. I believe he's doing Windows 10. It's in German, so good luck on that, but I think it's pretty straightforward. Basically, you're doing the same exact thing, different names. Vista. Okay, get into the control panel, network and sharing, the network bridge status. We want the properties in that. Look for the Internet Protocol version 2. We want the properties of that. Okay, and then you change the following in manual. IP 192.168.3.2. Okay, the subnet should automatically fill out. You can fill that out manually if you want. And later on, when you're done, you can always press back to auto to revert it back. But in this case, you change it to manual, press enter, you're done with that. WinXP, the process is control panel, network connections, local area connections, the properties of that. Look for the Internet Protocol, the TCP/IP, the properties of that. And then you're going to change it to the following 192.168.3.2, right? Exactly the same as this, just different names. Press enter, right? So that means that port can access that remote. Now we're going to launch that telnet. All you need is 2 lines and you're done. Very close to finishing. Launch that telnet, you'll have your line, and then you want to type open space 192.168.3.10. Press enter, then it'll go into the next line. This will give you access to the root of this Mavic Mini, right? Then you're gonna type this line, SED space -I space apostrophe S slash disabled underscore country equals 0 slash disable underscore country equals 1 slash apostrophe space slash etc slash amt slash wifi.conf. Okay, so you're basically switching this parameter, disable country, within the remote from 0, which means it's disabled, 201, which means that it's enabled for this parameter. And this is where the file is located, wi-fi.c1f with Wi-Fi config. And the directory is the file. This is the directory the file is located in. Okay, and then, so as you type this, you press enter, that's it, shut off the remote, you're all done. Those 2 lines that in Thailand is all you need to do. And now, of course, you can revert, everything's very safe, you can revert it back. If you wanted to, you have the same Ethernet settings, and then you do the same open, you just switch this 0 and this 1. So you just basically, it's basically enabled at 1, and you're just disabling at 0. So you can revert back if you wanted to, right? So now it's in a state of a remote boost, and basically you previously put it in a FCC state where the drone and the remote was in FCC, and you shut it off, and then you went to this telnet, and then basically you're disabling this parameter. So I believe what it's doing, this remote will never check what state, what's its next state is, what country it is next. So it's just basically stays in that FCC setting. So, and you get that kind of little boost as you saw the results in the beginning. You get a little bit boost. You don't have to do any funny techniques in the future, and it's permanent. It's permanent for the hardware as of now. So that's really great. Okay, and of course you're doing this at your own risk. So let me just say thanks again to Jimbo in Thailand. And if you refer to any of this in your own video, make sure you refer me inside your own video. Okay, so I barely make money off this channel. I think I make less than $2 per video. So make sure you like, share, and subscribe when you watch this video, because that helps. I mean, anything that can help. Upcoming will be the actual flights where you can see them achieving whatever distance they're able to achieve with this particular remote hack. So anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll